Hi! In the last video, we looked at 7 abstract data types that provide building blocks for how we use data in our programs. But how do these work under the hood? What data structures are used to implement them? In these next 3 videos, we will look at a few different data structures that are used to create these types. There are 3 fundamental types of data structures that we will explore: array-based data structures, linked data structures, and hash-based data structures. In this video, we'll start with array-based data structures. You are already familiar with how an array works. It is easy to see how an array could be used to store data for a list. An array can also be used to build a set, a queue, or a stack because it is capable of holding any list of values. The different types would just allow access to the array in different ways. For example, a stack would only add and remove from one end, while a queue would operate on both ends of the array. A key limitation of arrays, however, is that they are fixed length. Now, for you JavaScripters out there, let me take a moment to address the JavaScript array type. The JavaScript array is actually a high-level type which has the same capabilities as the basic array data structure, but also layers a lot of functionality on top, including the ability to grow and shrink in length. The arrays we're talking about in this video are lower level and more fundamental to how data works under the hood. They are mostly used behind the scenes in JavaScript. So how can we use an array data structure to implement a list data type that can change size? The answer is to create an array larger than we need so there is extra space to grow. Let's say we pre-allocate an array with space for 10 values, and our list starts with only 3 values. We'll also store a number to keep track of how many values we have. Now we can add and remove values as long as we never go over 10 total. Adding to the end is easy. Just set a value in the unused space and increment the length. Removing from the end is similar. Just overwrite the value and decrement the length. Now that slot is in the unused part of the array. Adding to the beginning or middle is slightly more work. We need to copy some of the values over to the right before we can set the new value. Still, increment the length. Removing from the beginning or middle requires a similar process of copying to the left. And once again, don't forget to decrement the length. So what if we ever need to go over 10 values? We're going to need a bigger array. And that's just what we can do. When our list gets full, create a new array that is twice the size. Copy over the existing values, switch out the old array for the new one, and go from there. The strategy of implementing a list with an array data structure is very common. It is used by the built-in list class in C# and the ArrayList class in Java. JavaScript does not specifically have a built-in list implementation that uses an array under the hood. So what are the pros and cons of this data structure? Take a moment to think about which of these operations are simple and efficient, or less efficient when using an array-based list. Pause the video if you want more time. Here are the answers. Array lists are particularly efficient at adding and removing from the end and reading or replacing a value at any index. They are less efficient when adding or removing from the beginning or middle, and sometimes the array must be copied when the list grows. Overall, array lists tend to be a very efficient data structure for a variety of common uses. In the next video, we will look at linked data structures and an alternative way to implement the list abstract data type.